Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about a singular movie, and we'll introduce this episode's movie in a little bit. But first, I need to invite you, yes, you, the listener, to join us in our fan vote. Of course, during today's episode, which is today, you can head over to my Twitter account to, of course, vote on the next movie after Callus's pick that we'll talk about. Hence the fan vote. We do have three new movies here, and one older one. The first one you can vote on is Twilight, which was recommended by Chameleon. Food Fight, which was recommended by Squid Daddy. How to Train Your Dragon, which was recommended by Coco, and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which was recommended by Tim Rules. If you want to vote for any of those movies, go over to my Twitter account at Yemmy the Ferret. The weekend that this episode releases, that's when the vote will be released, and it should go the whole weekend. So make sure you get your votes in, decide our fate, and if you want to submit your movies into the votes, just send us an email at ff.filmfreaks with a Z at the end at gmail.com, or comment on the latest episode of Film Freak the Z on YouTube. And if you want to talk to us in the movie stuff section of my Discord, the Ferret Nation Discord, you can also recommend movies there. And if your movie gets chosen and you want to come on the show, you can also recommend your movie during the episode, like 3 out of the 4 people in the vote. Well,
Why does
okay,
our
2
audience,
out of the 4.
Why does our audience hate us with these choices?
You tell me. You tell me.
Yeah, that's what I've been wondering. Like Twilight and
Yes,
Transformers.
Some interesting choices there, everyone.
I'm very excited if Twilight wins, okay? Y'all can suck a bag of donuts.
Okay.
If Twilight wins, can I at least watch the the Riff Tracks version?
Explain.
No, negative.
You don't know what Riff Tracks is? It's got commentaries of just people making fun of the shittiness.
It's basically Mystery Science Theater 3000, but like
Yeah. It's the
new
same guys who
version
did
of it.
Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
They just, after Mystery Science Theater, did Riff Tracks.
I'm gonna have to say no on that one. At the veto that.
No! I've never watched Twilight as, like, legit.
Well,
I don't want to.
well, hey, you can always sway the vote by
Maybe.
retweeting and say vote for this movie, please. But if you want to decide our fate as a listener, make sure you head over to my Twitter account the weekend of this episode's launch, and you can vote there for the entire weekend. Okay, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves before we talk about the movie. I am Superintendent the Ferret, and I'm here with
Greedy Waffle.
Tay, like me. Again.
and Detective Callus. I was just about to say Detective Pikachu.
what are you, Ryan Reynolds over there? Well, how is everyone doing today?
Doing good.
Pretty good, yeah.
Callus recently saw Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was sort of like a dream come true because like 20 years ago, Californication was like the first CD that I ever got for myself when I was a kid. And now like all this many years later, I'm finally seeing them live, so it was a pretty momentous occasion for me.
Did they play the titular Californication?
They did, yes. It was
Ah.
great.
Yeah. I had a friend while they were down here in Vegas. I had a friend went to it as well, and he said for like at least for them, they did not play like most of their famous songs. They played a bunch of like B-list songs for him.
Really?
Like I said, for here,
Wow.
and
me,
it was a
they
little
played-
disappointing.
Like so many of their their gigantic hits, they played pretty much all of them, like, except for maybe like 2 of them.
Yeah, and he said they did play some, their hits as well, but like not all their hits,
Mm.
which
Well,
he
you know,
thought was a little sad.
They did put out a new album, so maybe some of those B-sides were actually new songs that they were putting out.
Oh, probably.
Well, for
the
me, they
same
only-
thing happened at the Super Bowl when the Rolling Stones played. Like the Rolling Stones played like 2 new songs and then one older one, and everyone was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Well, for me, like they played only one song from their new album, and like everything else is just like hit after hit. The only thing is that instead of playing Under the Bridge, they did play like a different song instead, like one of their B sides. I think it's like one of their tracks from the Coneheads soundtrack for some reason.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting enough, the first CD I bought, which I think was actually like my third CD because I got like 2 for Christmas one year, was also Californication.
Nice.
Well, I'll have you all know that the first CD I bought was Weird Al Yankovic.
Hey, that's a good choice right
Yeah, a
there.
great choice.
Are you
I'm
excited
more
for
based.
the Weird movie?
Yes, I think it's going to be a pleasantly hilarious and weird experience.
Oh, so you're gonna
Definitely.
pick it for a future episode?
It's on Roku, what TV or whatever it is.
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
on
Roku
Hulu, I
TV.
thought.
No, it's on Roku.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
Wow.
It's weird, yeah. You got that right. Well, if it ever comes around to a normal streaming service, I'll probably pick it. But well, maybe I'll pick UHF instead. I don't know. I'm still deciding on my next movie because my next movie pick is close to Halloween, so I kind of gotta do something for that, I guess.
Yeah,
No, you
yeah.
Because we
don't. You
completely
want to do
we missed it
UHF.
last year. We completely missed it last year.
Do UHF. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but it's not scary
It doesn't
unless you're afraid of red snappers.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
They can
And
be
you should be
scary.
too.
And Fran Drescher. Are you afraid of Fran Drescher?
Oh God, who wouldn't? Who isn't afraid of Fran Drescher?
Well, I think this counts as one of the longest intros for the podcast
Yeah.
yet. Tay, go ahead and tell us about the movie that you picked for this episode.
All right, I picked Police Story 3: Super Cop, mostly just known as Super Cop.
Yeah.
Came out in 1992. Directed by Stanley Tong. Writers were Edward Tang, Phaib Ma, Li Wai. Stars Jackie Chan, Michelle Yao, Maggie Chung, and everyone else who was pretty much in the previous movies.
Except for the superintendent.
Yeah, the superintendent was a different. They had the commissioner instead, which was a little weird, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should read a synopsis, shouldn't I? A Hong Kong detective teams up with his female red Chinese counterpart to stop a Chinese drug czar.
Nice and short.
That's
Short,
it.
Nice
sweet,
and
to
short,
the point.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's start. First off, this movie clearly had a bigger budget than the previous two.
Yep.
What did you guys like? Did you enjoy the bigger budget, or did you like what they did with their smaller budget?
I think I like their smaller budget better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, both for different reasons, but I definitely feel like the smaller budget ones was kind of like better produced. I guess they didn't try to like be too ambitious with like how they were here to where like it's not just over bloated.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just because we're watching these in a row, but it's like seems the more like as the further we go into the series, it's the less I'm starting to enjoy. These movies. I don't know. Could be just my opinion.
Wait, what did you rate the last movie?
I think I rated it 3.5. I think.
I don't
Greedy
remember.
rated it a 4.
Oh,
I
4.
got it written down
Close
here.
enough.
Well, I mean, the second movie wasn't like too big of a departure from the first one,
Mhm.
but this one definitely is. I don't know. I feel like with the smaller budget, they had more like martial arts and stuff in there, less gunplay and gunfights and stuff like that.
Less CGI.
You know,
Hmm?
CGI.
No, CGI. Green screen.
Oh,
Okay.
How to say? I think there was CGI. Tay.
Same thing.
I didn't see any CGI.
Same thing.
But
I didn't see any green screen either.
Yeah, I didn't see any green screen. That's what I'm about to say. I didn't see any, but I didn't see any green screen. They still like the stunts and stuff and the martial arts. There was a lot less going on. I mean, obviously the ending, like part of the movie had the most stunts per minutes in the movie. But I felt like this one was a lot more reserved. It was a lot more focused on like the story and what was going on with the characters rather than like the big action scenes and martial arts.
Yeah, I enjoyed what they did with the characters. Like they actually brought back some of the comedy that we saw from the first movie, so it's like less serious than the Police Story 2. So I enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, there was a couple good lines in there. Um, I think it's because this one did have a dub only on Amazon and I
Yeah,
guess
that
where everyone watched it.
Yeah.
that
Probably
did
It
bug
some of the
me a
jokes
little
didn't
bit.
land. Like there was after the initial like when Jackie Chan originally gets to the training base of the Red Army or whatever it is. They're in like those wheels and like he does the fight with the dude and then it was just a very awkward transition to all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, how does this work?" and he gets inside of it and then it rolls away. I don't know, it didn't really work with the English dub. I feel like it would have worked better with the sub.
Yeah, that I agree with. I wish this had like, 'cause that was the first thing I did when it started talking English. I was like, let's see. Do you got the original audio? You don't.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's
Yeah, but
unfortunate.
I kind of expected it. I was like heading into this movie. I was like, I cannot be mad at it for the dub because I knew like watching on Amazon Prime, it wasn't going to be like watching it on HBO or anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a
so
nice
none
thing.
of us could
HBO got the original audio for the first two movies.
Yeah.
yeah, so none of us could find like the original dub version then.
Yeah, not unless I ordered it online, which was going to take too long.
Yeah, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Gallus is probably like brushing off his shoulder right now. He's like, yeah, that sucks.
Well, Callus
you-
was
What?
into the dub version.
Yeah, I also watched
Didn't
the
you
dub
get the whole
version.
movie set?
He
No,
well,
I only
there was
got
a
the first two.
Criterion re-release for the first two movies, and as we were saying at the end of the last episode, I think it's because a different studio owns Police Story 3 or the sequels after 1 and 2 or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there is like a Blu-ray coming out in December. I think I saw, so there might be like a dub version release for streaming services then. But that's in the
That'd
future.
be nice. I might have to go back and maybe watch it with the actual dub or audio, original
Yeah.
audio.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would help the experience a lot because just like with Drunken Master, it just
it was rough.
it's just so weird. Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
rough in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Kakui, damn it, not Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I heard Kevin be said, I was like, "Uh-oh." That was pretty early on when they just because he says, "Hi, how are you?" I didn't really think of it, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Kevin can do it," and I'm like, "Huh, Kevin?"
Yeah. Who's Kevin? What is this?
And they all now I'm also curious if like some of the music choices were also just for American audiences because at the end of the movie was kung fu
100%.
fighting. In the middle of the movie, there was like a rap song.
Yeah, it's
I
like
can't remember the other
2,
one.
3 other different rap songs in the middle. Like it's
Yeah.
just weird choices, and they're all like
Yeah.
cover versions, like not even the original version.
Yeah.
This was actually one of my talking points. So I was like, yeah, that is kind of interesting.
I'm guessing
So-
that those music choices were simply for the American audience because it was obviously this was the first Police Story movie I think released in the U.S.
Yes, it was. It was some New Line Cinemas doing, like they changed all this stuff, for American audiences to make it easier to digest for these dumb Americans.
I like it when companies realize we can handle. We can
Yeah.
handle it being in a different language. We can handle a guy's name being.
Not everyone can.
I guess the 90s was a different era.
Yeah.
Oh, to go back.
I don't want to.
No?
Well, there's some
Yeah.
things I wouldn't mind going back to, but overall, no. Yeah, no. But for me, like I didn't mind the bigger budget because I kind of like being able to focus on the story more, and I thought this story was definitely the best of the three.
Really?
You think
I
so?
don't know because like
Yeah.
personally, I thought it was kind of like a mixed bag. Like everything was just kind of thrown together in my opinion. Like they go from like the coal mine, and like Jackie Chan pretends to be a bad guy, and then they go to the um the place that's selling heroin, and there's like a whole huge fight scene, and then they transition over to, I don't know, like it didn't string along as nicely as the first two movies, especially the second movie.
That's true. I'll give you that. But I did like the whole being undercover thing and introducing Michelle. 'Cause I like Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle was really good in this movie.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
a good
Yeah, she was one of my favorites.
she was a good counterweight to Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a whole, I didn't really enjoy the story of this one nearly as much as the first two movies.
That's fair. And like there was definitely things about it, and like, but I did like that it did focus more on them versus just, I don't know. I can't explain it.
Do you think like there's any issue with the fact that Jackie Chan is known as this super cop? So like he would have a problem being undercover since like he's so recognizable? Or
Yeah,
would
that
this
was one
just
thing
be,
I did.
like-
I did think about, like, when they show up back to Hong Kong at the one guy's house. I'm like, how does this guy's been in Hong Kong for how long? How does he not
Yeah.
recognize Jackie Chan?
Yeah, I was gonna say like if he was like in the mainland China, then sure, yeah, no one probably knew him. But back in Hong
Yeah.
Kong, come on.
They had
I-
posters plastered all over the.
Yeah. I like how they harken back to the photographing scene in this one.
Yeah,
where
and there
he's
was a lot of little like her on the bus, and like they always have to have somebody hanging from a vehicle in these movies.
Yeah, that was a nice callback.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I've been enjoying with these movies is like how it's like referencing or flashback like to like the previous movie. That's like
Yeah.
something I like enjoy like with the not just movies like books or a series, TV shows, that kind of stuff.
yeah. I do think it's silly that May's still with him at this point.
Yeah.
But also like I feel like she's just gotten dumber each movie.
Well, because it's more comedic, I guess. Is that a word?
comedic.
Yes. Well, it's
Comedic,
so
yeah.
they can always like be like, "Hey, oh, you're cheating on me again." It's like,
Yeah.
has he ever? It's always been he's been on. It's a work thing.
Yeah, as soon as May showed up, it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. She was going to blow
Yeah.
his cover, and even though it didn't happen exactly the way you think it is, like when he's at the poolside, it still happens.
Shortly
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah, shortly after.
Yeah. No, it could have been. Yeah, she like I said, she just kind of gets dumber. She's like, "Oh, he's on an important mission. Let me talk about it in the elevator."
Yeah, it's a little bit tiring. The third movie, she does like the same thing. Yeah, I mean, come on, she deserves better than Kevin.
She does.
I also think it's weird. Like they didn't like. I feel like they should have set up that she was like a tour bus guide or something like that. Like
Yeah, she just
have
came
her
out of the blue.
yeah, it just kind of was out of the blue. She was randomly a tour guide now, and randomly they have a nice car now instead of a moped. It's would have been. I mean, that's that. I guess that's one of the problems with the second movie and the first movie is they kind of end abruptly, so you can't get like those ending resolutions, or maybe we could see them buying a car at the end of Police Story 2. And
I don't need to see
I don't
him
know.
buying a car. I mean, you just know at this point he's a super cop, so he's got to have a promotion. So they have more money now, and they just bought a new
Yes.
car.
Or
I mean,
on the
that's-
same line, they could have shown her getting the job at the tourist place or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because Jackie Chan's away for a long time. Maybe one of the resolutions to Police Story 2 is she gets the job as the tour guide, and she's away now, and
Yeah.
like they can both be away and not worry. And I guess I just that's the thing. Like I love Police Story 2 and 1. But god damn it, if they could just give us some resolution at the end of them, just so that these movies don't feel so abrupt when you start them up.
Yeah.
And even this one had a pretty abrupt ending. I mean, they beat the bad guy, and then it just is like, all right, we're out of time. End it. Hour 30. That's it.
That's
Goodbye.
That's how they
But this
do.
one was an hour and 31 minutes though.
Well, you're counting credits in there.
Oh, gotta.
Yeah, I mean that's just like they kept with tradition. And went, nope, this is how we end these movies.
Yeah. So I guess my criticisms pile over from the first two movies into this one. Still,
Yeah,
I want, like, you can't just end on the big action scene. You learn this in school. There's the climax, and then there's like the resolution. You can't just go climax resolution real fast.
just because we
Well,
learned
I
that
mean,
here in America doesn't mean that's how they teach it in Hong Kong.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
true.
at least
Got a point.
they showed the one scene where the lady, the wife of the czar, like was just giving the account number.
Yeah,
So
give
they
the
at least gave
information
like
system.
yeah.
Yeah, I liked
So
that.
somewhat a resolution.
But that was on the train.
Choo choo.
I mean, that was after the action was over.
Yeah, but it was on the train immediately after the action. Like,
Right, 'cause
they
that
didn't
point
even
she-
they didn't even transition scenes. She's on the train. She gets a number.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, all right, husband's dead, and you know what? I'm done with this. Here's the information. Please don't execute me.
No, I mean, going back to what we were saying before. I mean, it's basic storytelling to have a climax to a story and then a slower resolution, something to calm the story down, get it to its end point. I don't care if they don't teach it in Hong Kong. I mean, it's just basics of storytelling. And even if you can read, you can go read a Hong Kong book and come back to me and tell me if they abruptly end the story as soon as the climax is over. Okay, I don't believe for a second that there is a cultural difference there.
Yeah, probably.
All right,
No,
Tate, that's your job. Get on
it's
it.
probably not.
Yeah.
Why do I always have to get the reading homework?
But yeah, I just, it's annoying to me just to kind of stop the story right there and go right to the credits. That's just the annoying part for me. And it adds on to the fact that I didn't really enjoy this one as much as the other ones. It kind of is like the last piece of the, it's like the cherry on top. It's like, okay, I wasn't really enjoying this one, and then you also did the abrupt ending, so it's like, just leaving me on a sour note altogether.
Well, they gotta make you want to watch the next one.
Yeah.
Why are we giving excuses here? We're supposed to be criticizing this movie.
Now we're supposed to be discussing the movie. We can
Right.
give it
It's
excuses.
just
Same
discussing.
thing.
Yeah.
Discussing, criticizing, same thing.
All right.
But I mean,
Yemmy.
look, it's my opinion. Okay, this is my discussion point,
Yeah, that's
All
fair.
right.
And, it's a
and you guys
very
aren't giving
fair-
good enough counterpoints for me to sway my opinion.
That's because there are none. They should have a resolution. You were right.
Thank you. That makes me feel
Yes.
better.
But anyways, Yemi, did you notice how Panther is actually one of the characters in Kung Pao Enter the Fist?
Yes, he is
Oh.
very recognizable, but I don't know
Alright.
which one he is.
I'm not sure either. But all I know is I clicked on his name and it showed, Kung Pao under one of his credited films.
That's funny.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, he was. He might have been like an added extra after the fact because he probably
Yeah.
wasn't in the original.
No, he looked a little too young to be in the original.
Maybe.
I guess that's another thing we can talk about is I felt like the two villains of the story, the two brothers, weren't really that compelling. I think that they should have kind of rode with Panther being like the leader and like he gets him out.
Yeah.
As soon as the brother came in, it just kind of got a little bit too chaotic, I guess.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I was like, oh, now we have this douchebag.
Yeah, I agree. Panther was definitely a lot more interesting than the drug lord.
Yeah, and the second they introduced Panther, at the very beginning they talked about that there was two of them, but it just felt like Panther was supposed to be the guy in charge, and like his number two was trying to bake him out or something. But no, it turns out it's just his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, comparing them, yeah, obviously, but watching it, I didn't. It didn't stick out to me, I guess.
So, you guys want to talk about like favorite scenes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cal. Start us off.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, one scene that I really enjoyed was after they got into after he rescued Panther and they went they were like talking to Jackie Chan about, oh, well, like where's your hometown? It should be really nearby, right? Let's go. And then they get to the town and they do this whole this ruse, trying to pretend like they're all his family. I thought that whole scene was pretty funny, and I really enjoyed it. Especially when his uncle showed up as dressed up as like his mother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that,
Like
that
I
was a
started
fun
cackling.
scene. Yeah. Well, I guess my favorite scene is like probably the only scene that I really, truly, really enjoyed, which was the big climactic ending with Jackie Chan's on the he's on the helicopter, grabbing onto the ladder, and they fly him over to the train. And I love train levels in video games, and this really did tug at my heartstrings. Because he's does a few fight scene, fights sections on the train, and then the chopper blows up, and it all looked really good. It was all really well done, and especially when Michelle was her name, Hannah,
Yeah. Hannah.
Yeah.
when she
Hannah.
drove the dirt bike onto the train, that reminded me of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So that was a fun little
Yeah.
thing.
She
Maybe this
actually-
movie inspired that, because I know
Yeah.
the game came out after.
Yeah, so yeah, and she did that for real. Like you see in the
Yep,
bloopers
for
at
real,
the end.
yeah.
And it probably inspired Mission Impossible 1 with that, the helicopter being attached to the train scene at the end of that.
Maybe.
Mission
it's
Impossible
it's
came out like
possible.
3
I
years
was like,
later.
didn't
Yeah.
okay? I was like, didn't Mission
I was about
Impossible
to
come out
say,
in
yeah.
91, 92 as well? But
I think it was 95.
I think it was later.
95. Okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
possible. It could have inspired that too. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like even the first Police Story inspired a bunch of scenes in like other American films. Like you can see, like in the first movie when Jackie Chan stops the bus and people come crushing out of the front window. Like that was in another American action scene. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I mean, definitely these movies inspire a lot of action scenes in other movies.
Yeah.
I guess. I suppose.
What was your favorite scene, Callus?
Callus already said.
Yeah,
Oh, did he?
No, well, so that's one of my favorites. but-
Sorry, Greedy. My brain
yeah
just
I
went.
think he meant to say my name.
I didn't
Yeah.
mean to say Greedy. My brain just is still a little stupid today.
Oh, we get it. Counts. It's a favorite.
No, you're my favorite, Greedy.
Oh. Well, okay.
Yeah.
We don't need favorites now.
So humble. So humble.
So very humble. The humble podcast.
right.
Yeah.
Now you're just buying time to
I
think.
know. I was, but all that time to think. But I had to agree with Yemmy that it was probably the train scene, which I know is the ending scene, but it's
I
probably
mean,
like,
the
it
ending
was
scene
just
is
so
supposed
like,
to be your favorite.
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, like I was explaining in the last episode, like this is Jackie Chan style to where like the final scene is always like the most bombastic and the most exciting out of all of them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there was
Yeah.
no shower scene.
Yeah, I'm really missing that shower scene. Comparing the final parts of all three movies, this one kind of like, even though it had like the chopper chase and the train, it really wasn't as like, I'm gonna use the word epic as the first two movies endings.
Yeah, I would say the mall scene is probably still my favorite. I mean, I know, yeah, mall scene.
I think I like this train scene a little bit more than the final scene in Super Cop 2 in the warehouse. I like it a little
Oh,
bit more
yeah.
than that, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rank it. If I had to rank it between the three, I would say mall, then the train, and then
Yeah.
warehouse.
That's how I'd rank it too. I mean, there wasn't enough people going through glass in this movie.
And also, I don't think Jackie Chan used a weird object to fight in this one.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
another, that's another Jackie Chanism.
Oh, that's another thing I noticed.
Well, he didn't write it, so he didn't get to put in those things.
Yeah, I mean, that also might be the reason why there's not as much martial arts in here, is because someone else took the reins of this movie.
Yeah.
Which is the fun part of the other movies, because I mean, obviously this is definitely a different tone, and it's much more 90s action oriented, but a large part of the first two movies is, he doesn't want to actually kill people, he just wants to incapacitate them.
And here he's fully
using
embracing.
grenades and
Well, he's fully embracing his undercoverness and be like, I'm supposed to be a killer, so
yeah.
these are all bad people. They don't need due process.
Yeah, that does remind me, going back to what I was saying about the scenes kind of be loosely connected to each other. That whole like boat scene where they're on the boat and like the, I guess the Chinese military just like swarms them or whatever.
No, that was Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
just feel like that scene was just so out of the blue. Like all of a sudden, they they're on this boat and they have a secret boat and then they're running away. I don't know. It just the discombobulation of the movie just kind of like irked me a little bit.
Yeah, that one was a little random.
But Tay, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this yet. How was that camera footage? Because you were complaining about the first two movies being a little shrunken on the edges.
Yeah, no, that's one thing the bigger budget gave. The cameras were much better. The shots and sets were they were a little bigger. It was a lot better in that regard, which may be partly why I'm like, oh yeah, I liked this one better, just because it had a better polish on it. But then
Something.
Talking to you guys about all these different things is like, oh well, I guess yeah.
I mean, there are definitely like a lot of positives and negatives about having the bigger budget.
Yeah.
So yeah, quality is definitely up there. The story, I did enjoy the story in this one, but
Yeah.
I do agree also with Yemmy how everything is kind of like fits in, kind of not cohesive enough as I would have wanted it to.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
word.
Mm-hmm. What's with these podcasts? We always like, yeah, that's a good word.
Well, the podcast say that?
I'm just saying, like, there's always something like, word of the day or something along those lines.
Word for today:
So-
cohesion.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So let's quickly talk about was it the second to last action scene when it was like in the jungle and where was it? Cambodia?
Yeah,
Or
because I
Order
remember
of
when they showed.
Cambodia, Taiwan.
Yeah, they
Taiwan.
they,
Oh,
they
it's
showed
Taiwan.
Cambodia on the screen. And I was like, holiday in Cambodia. Guitar Hero 3, anyone?
Yeah,
The Dead Kennedys? All right.
yeah.
You would know. I don't know.
I was concentrating because I mixed up Thailand and Taiwan for a second. I was like, how is there a border? Taiwan's an island. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, Thailand. Got it.
Taiwan. But anyways, that felt like a scene straight out of a completely different movie. It just felt so different tonally.
Yeah,
All
it
of
was
a sudden,
just
it
a
was just
crazy.
a bunch of gunfire.
Yeah, it was just crazy. It was just, I don't know. It like, speaking of things that aren't cohesive, like what a mishmash of different ideas and stuff going on. I guess we did get one of my favorite, like, not really a stunt, but one of my favorite like moments in the movie where Hannah falls over and Jackie Chan catches her and she's like, "Let me drop." And then she throws the grenade at the window and when it shuts, and he's like, "I told you to fake it." That was one of my favorite little moments.
That was
Or
good.
like when Jackie Chan jumped in through the window and like knocked his stick down too close to the window, and she tried to jump in behind him
Yeah.
and like smash into the panel.
Yeah,
It has some pretty good scenes.
yeah, but as a whole, that whole action scene was just like, I don't know. I want to say it's like action throw up.
Yeah, I was
You
saying
know,
a little
bunch of
too
stuff just kinda
Americanized.
splatting.
Yeah.
That was a good word. Action throw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just seeing Jackie Chan shoot guns just doesn't look right. After watching those last two movies, it's just it doesn't seem right to me, him shooting all these guns.
Yeah.
I guess even a lot of movies he does. Like thinking of a few off my head, like Shanghai Nights and other ones. Like he's not like a super like gun toting dude. That's never been his MO. That's why that's one of the reasons why he probably isn't in those what were those movies called with all with all the different action people in them.
Oh, the
Oh, Expendables.
Expendables,
Expendables,
yeah.
yes.
He was never in the Expendables. Probably one of the reasons is he doesn't use guns, and all of them are using guns and shit in that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, and I feel like, that's part of the story, since he's undercover, it's, it's what he's supposed to do to blend in with the bad guys who use guns. But either way, it does seem weird, and it's like, why do you have a gun, Jackie?
Yeah, he's like,
Why don't you have a ladder? Go use your ladder.
Yeah, where's your bench? Come on, like.
I guess he didn't have any stools handy nearby.
Especially the one weapon he was using with like the giant magazine barrel, round barrel on it, and it just I don't know, it just didn't seem right.
Agreed.
I wish there was more martial arts in the movie. Maybe there could have been like a big fight scene there with just hand to hand combat, and then it turns into guns. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Also, I mean, yeah, obviously the stunts on the train were pretty hardcore. You can see at the end that there weren't any like ropes or anything like that holding them on. Maybe there could have been a few more goons on the train to fight.
Not just two.
And not just two, yeah. And when Jackie Chan falls into the Durians, like maybe there could have been a few guys fighting with him on the Durians just to kind of make it funny. Just him fighting on fruit or whatever.
Sharp fruit.
Yeah.
Like you see him when he stands up, he's got blood, like little blood spots all over his butt.
Yeah,
Does he? I didn't notice that.
You won't
Yeah.
be sitting
What
on
are
the
you
toilet for a
watching,
while.
Tay?
I'm watching Jackie Chan's butt. What are you watching?
I
Can't keep my eyes off it. Yeah, I mean, I was really thinking that they were going to utilize like there's your moment where Jackie Chan could have used a weird weapon or object as a weapon.
Just throw
using
durians.
yeah, you throw the durians at the guys or take a few guys out. Hit them off the train with the durian fruit. That's all I
Yeah.
wanted.
I mean, you see the bad guy use a durian to crush a guy's head,
Yeah,
but Jackie doesn't get to use one as a weapon. Just opportunity
Sad.
lost.
yeah, lost.
Very sad.
And there's no extended cut, so we can't even see if there was maybe durian action later on.
Mhm.
But there might be an extended cut because actually never mind. No, I was just looking and there actually will be a Blu-ray coming out of this soon in December 13th, I think it said. So yeah, hopefully I'm considering getting it then. So we'll see.
Get it and tell us if the original audio is on it and if it makes it better.
I'm sure the original audio is going to be on it.
Guaranteed, yeah. It's gonna be on
Yeah.
there.
You'd think, but who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Well, I mean,
People
the
screw
Blu-ray
things up all the time.
the Blu-ray does say like Police Story 3 Super Cop, so that gives me hope.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sounds
okay.
like it's going to be the original version. I guess that's a good question. Should I name this episode Police Story 3 Super Cop or just Super Cop?
Probably
Because
just Super
technically
Cop.
we watched the Super Cop version.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
Super
and
Cop.
that's
Alright.
since the first two didn't come to America and this one did. It would be weird if it was like Police Story 3 Super Cop, and you're like, wait, what happened to the other two?
Yeah.
I would title it however Tay reference it.
I did say, I mean, it is Police Story 3. Might as well do Police Story 3 since we already did since we did the first two police stories.
or just like Super Cop and then in parentheses Police Story 3.
Yeah. There you go.
Or I could do Police Story 3 Super Cop.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for release date on how.
So everyone listening knows how we decided to, or Yemmy
That
decided
is true.
to
That is
label
true.
this.
Fair point.
But they'll at least now know that there was some controversy on what to name it.
We have been arguing this whole time, everyone.
Yeah. A 40-minute argument about what we should name the movie. I'm not sorry, not movie. Podcast. Yeah. Well, was there anything else you guys wanted to discuss about the Super Cop?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think can't think of anything else.
Are we police storied out at this point, guys? Like, is this
I don't know.
Yeah.
We might get a Police Story 4 here from Kalos. We'll see in a sec.
Yeah, I'm about to say there is more opportunities.
Yep. It's Super Cop 2.
Well, I guess we should start our final review and ratings, and Callus will reveal what his pick is for the next episode,
Yeah.
starting with Tay.
Starting with me. So overall, like I said, I still enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fun. The addition of Michelle Yeoh, I think, really helped. It is sad that Jackie Chan didn't get to do some of his usual like shenanigans with fighting with like random objects and stuff. Definitely a little too much guns, but overall, okay. Well, we also got to mention, I guess the soundtrack was not great. Like it was a little, like it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. Um, but the cinematography was much better, an improvement from previous movies, super cop movies or police story movies. Acting was still on point. I think everyone still did a really good job. Overall, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5.
All right. Well, yep, I pretty much agree with all that. I really enjoyed the movie. The pacing was weird, and it was all discombobulated, as we have said. And also, like, I really just was really thrown off by some of the music choices they made. It was just like really threw me out of the movie experience, and I just wish that I could have seen the original version instead of this Hollywoodized version. But for me, I would have to give it also a 3.5.
All right. Yeah, I was really hoping to come into this and be like, wow, this is a perfect trilogy. It definitely is worth watching all three of them. Even though like the third one's still enjoyable at times, it's fine. I guess I would say, it's like that generic like it's fine. Like I don't know, I'm kind of right down the middle on it because there's still some really good scenes in it, but there's not really great action scenes like from the first two movies. And when you're talking about a third movie in a trilogy, obviously you're going to be comparing it to the first two movies, which I think are a lot better than this one. Sure, there's more story to this one, and the chemistry between the two main characters is good. I just the story. I mean, the movie just kind of fumbles when the action scenes or the scenes scene by scene just doesn't feel great. It's not very cohesive. The word of the day. And also like the action scenes weren't as impactful as other ones. I'm missing the martial arts. I'm missing like the choreographed fighting. I'm missing all that stuff. And you got a little bit of that at the end. And yes, the ending like scene with the helicopter chase and the train was good. I just feel like everything else that was kind of thrown together for this movie just didn't really feel great. And you know, I think I'm gonna have to give this one a 3 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with you guys. It was just like a middle of the road, just like an average kind of type of movie. There was I also since Yemi just mentioned it, just like no big like scenes like besides the train scene and the helicopter. There was no like playground scene, or there was no like mall scene that we could that like just stood out. And just the I don't know, the lust up wasn't there, out of like the one out of the first or the second police story movies. Um, but it's Jackie Chan, and you gotta love him, and we sure do love him. And of course, it was enjoyable. I don't know if I'm just getting a little burnout from watching these, but it is what it is. But that being said, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Wow,
So
I can't believe I'm the lowest here.
Yeah, I know.
Alex
Right?
hasn't gone yet.
Well, I just wanted to, when I'm giving the rating, I did want to, make sure like it is a step below the other two movies. I thought a 3.5 was a little bit too high for my opinion of the movie.
Mhm.
But
Hmm.
all right, Callus, drum roll, please.
Well, see, now I'm getting worried about my choice because
Uh-oh.
you guys are saying you're getting tired of police stories.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, I was actually considering New Police Story, just to give it something like a different feel to it. Even though it is still a police story, like I said, it's a much different movie. But ultimately, I decided on Jackie Chan's First Strike, which is technically Police Story 4, although the advertising for it says nothing about Police Story, so it's just called First Strike.
Okay.
So that is my
What happened
choice.
to is Super Cop 2 number 5 really?
No, Super Cop 2 just has Michelle Yeoh on it, so not Jackie Chan related.
Oh,
So it's like her
gotcha.
own franchise spin-off, I guess.
Gotcha.
But
Understand.
yeah, Jackie Chan's First Strike, released in '96, stars Jackie Chan, Jackson Lu, Annie Wu, Bill Tung, pretty much the usual suspects, and a bunch of new people. This is actually an even bigger budget than Police Story 3, and like it's very also Hollywoodized, because they're getting more pushback from New Line Cinema to do bigger things and blah blah blah. So we'll see how that goes. The plot is something like, let's see. This fourth installment of Chan's Police Story film franchise has our hero trying to locate a missing nuclear warhead. So they practically turned him into James Bond for this one.
Yeah, I think there's also a Mission Impossible movie that has a similar thing there.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
all right then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not getting bored of them or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm still enjoying them.
I
Okay,
just
good.
thought, the third movie just was a little bit of a departure from what I want. So if this movie gets back on track, then we're good.
Yeah.
This might be
probably
like an
won't.
even bigger departure.
Well, I guess you can say my line. If the movie's good, you're welcome. If not, I'm sorry.
Oh, also, like I want to share, I've been like compiling all of our scores in real time, and interesting enough, like our average for Police Story, the first one, is 4.3. The average for Police Story 2 is 3.8, and the average for Supercard is 3.3. So it keeps going down.
Mm. Well,
We'll see what happens with the fourth one.
Callus, have you seen this one before? Or
I have, but it was forever ago, to the point where like I don't really remember it.
okay. Well, I guess we're all
Oh,
going in with
though-
brand new eyes.
One thing I don't remember is he does in fact use a ladder to fight with, so you can look forward to
Hey,
that.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's already a step up from number 4 or 3.
Oh, that was a pun joke. I get it. That was a
An
step
unin-
up. Nah.
Yeah, I do unintentional puns all the time.
Well,
Just
hey,
so good at them.
if we end this on a good note, this will be the most successful. Well, besides from the Lord of the Rings, but that was 3 movies. This will be the most successful run of the podcast from fan vote to fan vote yet.
We'll see.
But yeah, we'll see. So if you don't want to be spoiled for, hold on, I accidentally closed the movie out. Jackie
First
Chan's
Strike.
First Strike. It's available on Amazon, iTunes, Google, Vudu, etc. Make sure you watch that before the next episode airs in 2 weeks. That's right, we reconvene every 2 weeks for Film Freaks. And don't forget to vote on the fan vote, which is going on right now as you're listening to this, probably, if you're listening to this when it first comes out. The movies, just to reiterate, the movies you can vote on are Twilight, How to Train Your Dragon, Food Fight, and Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. If you want to see us or hear us talk about any of those movies, go ahead and vote for the one that is your favorite on that list. And hey, whatever wins, I'll accept. I don't know about the other people, but
I mean, I'll
I don't
watch
know about
whatever
that.
wins.
I
I won't be happy about some of those.
so if you want to annoy us, pick Transformers or
Yeah.
Or Twilight.
like I said,
I mean, Food Fight is pretty terrible too.
Yeah, but I've never seen Food Fight, so
Yeah.
that'd be a interesting.
So we have one good movie for sure on this list.
Yeah, pretty much just one.
It's not the original Transformers, right? I know
No.
you just
I
said
think it
it,
was
but
the
it just
second
I think we go over this every time. Yeah, it's the second
Yeah.
movie.
Which is like the worst of all of them. But
Yeah.
well, no,
I don't
worst
know
of the
about
first
that.
three.
No,
Worst of
I
the
don't think
first
it's-
three.
me and Yemmy walked out
Okay.
one.
Yeah, we
one of
walked
them,
out on the
so-
latest one, the one
Oh,
with the
yeah.
knights and stuff.
Oh yeah.
As
don't.
as soon as
No, I'm not talking. 4 and 5 are both awful too.
oh,
Yes.
okay, yeah. As soon
I
as
was
what's
just
his
saying the
face
original
pulled out a
three.
sword and blocked the Transformers sword, I was like, all right, I'm out. See ya. Can't take this anymore. But yeah, if you want to vote on that, make sure you go over to my Twitter account at Yemmy the Ferret and go ahead and cast your vote. And whatever wins, we'll accept. We may not like it, but we'll accept.
Yeah.
That's how we do.
All right. Anyone else have anything they want to mention before we end the show?
I think you know.
Well, I do want to apologize that this movie we're gonna have to rent it again because it is not available on any streaming service. So apologies for that.
Yeah, it happens. But
It's the
be
name
sure
of the
to
game.
to wipe your ass, clean your ass.
Wipe your
Clean
ass
your
and
ass.
clean your ass.
Yeah.
Don't we
Do it
normally
all.
do this stuff after we say goodbye? Like,
So we used to.
Sometimes.
We're switching it up.
eventually this is going to be at the beginning of the podcast. And it's like-
It's gonna keep showing up earlier and earlier.
All right. I am Superintendent the Ferret, and I've been here with.
Pretty awful.
Tay. Like me.
Detective. Am I Detective Callus.
And we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Did you give yourself a promotion, Yemmy?
Last episode I gave myself a promotion. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay.
That was like a whole talking point for the first section.
That's what I remember now.